number 35, we were asked how to find the range. So I quickly graphed this. I've got this linear equation. The y-intercept is 1, the slope is up 1 over 1, and then the domain for that is just less than 0. So we have an open circle at 0, and then the part going to the left. And then we have x squared, so that's half of a parabola, because it would be a parabolic graph here, but then it's just x is greater than or equal to 0, so we have a dot at 0 and then to the right of the graph. So the domain for this one would be all real numbers because everything is included from left to right. The question with the range is, do we do something separate since these two little sections overlap? The answer to that is no. The only thing we would have to worry about is if there's some sort of gap. And since they overlap, there's definitely not a gap. So this range would be from negative infinity to positive infinity as well. Now if this line didn't start until up here or something, so there would be a gap in here, then we would have to list two pieces separately, like negative infinity to positive 1 and then positive 2 to infinity, if there were a gap, but there's not. Instead of it being up here, there's an overlap. And so the overlap doesn't change how you write the domain and range. So the domain would simply be negative infinity to positive infinity, because from left to right we have no gaps. We do have a hole there, but it's covered by that dot. And then the range from bottom to top is an arrow going that way and an arrow going that way with an overlap in the middle, so it is also negative infinity to positive infinity. Unlike the last problem we were just looking at, where the range went from negative infinity up to, well, it kind of goes up to 1, but then where that one leaves off, that one takes over. So it actually goes up until 4 before it has a gap in it. So negative infinity to 4, but not including 4 because of that open circle. And then it also includes the point 5. But then it doesn't go above that. So there's no infinity, it just stops right there. That's the last point on the range going upward. So that's just sort of all by itself.